Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be doing another book tag video, specifically the Netflix book tag. I haven't done one of these in quite some time, but I thought today would be a good time to get one done. And I got this idea from the Sprinkles of Dream blog. I will link that blog down below. However, I don't believe that blog was the actual, or like the original creator. I believe it's actually originally started from BookTube, so I will link the original video and that blog down below for your reference. So anyways, let's just get right into the video. So thanks to my handy dandy phone right here, I have the list of questions up here. There's 12 questions, so hopefully it's not super long, but some of the questions are kind of lengthy, but whatever. Anyways, question number 1 is recently watched, the last book you finished reading. So by the time this video actually comes out, which will be in a few days, I'm hoping to actually finish reading this book, The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. I honestly thought I would finish this book within a day or two and I would have gone to a different book, but I've been reading this book for 2 days now and I'm still under halfway. So I think by the time this video comes out, I will have literally just finished reading this. So this is kind of like in the future-ish kind of thing. But this book is so hard to get into, by the way. The first 60-70 pages, you're literally just thrown into this world and you don't even know what is going on really, and it isn't until then that the pieces start to kind of fall in place. So I honestly, like, if you guys haven't seen my Instagram, I had like a call for help on there because I was like, I don't know what's going on. But anyways, this book is really good right now. By the time I'm like, like I said, about halfway there. So this book is really interesting. So hopefully the last half of this book will go by a lot quicker than the first half. So this is the book that I just finished reading. And the second question is top picks. A book or books that have been recommended to you based on books that you have previously read. So for this question, I just had to go onto Goodreads because I do have a recommendations area where you can actually pick books that are based from which shelf. So you can pick books that are recommended books from your read shelf or your to read shelf or your currently reading shelves, etc. So from that, I was able to sort based on the books that I have read already. And probably because I have been reading a lot more like young adult contemporaries, some of the first few options were YA contemporaries, and this pick was one in that category. So the book that got recommended to me was called Alex Approximately by Jen Bennett. I've actually heard really good things about this book. It's a YA contemporary and it was recommended to me because I read To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. Love that movie, or the books actually, sorry, I love the books. Also because I read They Both Die at the End by Adam Severa, as well as If I Fix You by Abigail Johnson. So it's about a girl called Bailey Rydell who has this massive online crush with this witty film geek. His name is Alex, and originally both of them live in separate coasts. One lived on the west coast and one lived on the east coast, but because Bailey decided to, or for some reason moved in with her father, who lives somehow in the same California town as her online crush Alex, she ends up living in the same town as him. But of course she doesn't want to come off as a massive stalker, so she doesn't tell him that, hey, I now live in the same town as you. And she also doesn't tell him that she found a job at the local tourist trap museum where there is this supposedly really hot security guard who constantly heckles her on a regular basis. Oh, and the security guard's name is Porter, so she at first does not realize that they are the same person. And obviously this is not a spoiler, by the way, because it's stated in the plot, or like the synopsis, that Porter is Alex approximately, hence the title of this book. So anyways, it's supposed to be very cute. I've heard really good things about it and definitely cannot wait to read this one, because it's been recommended to me as well from Goodreads. So yeah. So the third question is recently added, which is basically the last book that you purchased. So you guys had actually watched my previous book haul video where I decided to ban myself from buying books for the month of August because I realized I was going a little overboard with the buying books these days. But before I actually banned myself, I actually purchased a few books from the book of the month because I had expiring credits and I figured I might as well purchase some extra books on the side as well. So one of the books I actually purchased 3 is, and I'm not going to share all 3 of them because that's just excessive, so I'm going to share one of them, the one that I'm most excited for, and that one is The Anomaly by Michael Rutger. So this book is dubbed as If Indiana Jones Lived in the X-File Eras because it follows a guy called Nolan Moore, who is a archaeologist who hosts a documentary series who's kind of you know, looked down upon by real experts, but the conspiracy theories nuts really like his documentary. And then one day he decides to explore this mysterious cavern, and then one day this trip turns into something quite nasty and spooky, and I'm very excited for this book. So it's like a thriller slash mystery slash horror, I think. So anyways, this is the last book that I purchased. Question number 4. This one's actually kind of a long one, and it's popular on Netflix. Books that everyone knows about, so you pick 2 that you've read and 2 that you have absolutely no interest in reading. This one actually was kind of hard because I couldn't really figure out books that I wouldn't read. I usually like to give books a try unless there are certain like genres or types of book that I just won't read, so that I had to looking through those before I found my 2 selections. So I'm going to start off with the negative part of it, which is 2 books that I have no interest in reading. The first book that I want to pick for this one is Alex and Eliza by Melissa de la Cruz. So this is basically a retelling of Hamilton, but the thing is, I don't know why, I just have zero interest in reading this book at all, this entire series whatsoever. One, probably because I never watched Hamilton and therefore I have no like attachment to that. Maybe one day when I do actually watch Hamilton, fingers crossed for the $10 lottery in New York City, maybe I will decide to read this book. But because I have literally zero attachment to Hamilton itself, this retelling just doesn't hold any interest to me. And the last book I believe that I read from her, I didn't like. So with these 2 things, I just, for some reason, this book just does not hold interest to me whatsoever. The next book that I have absolutely no interest in reading is Meet Cute, and it's an anthology, so there are a ton of authors such as Cass Morgan, Sarah Shepard, etc. There are a ton of them, and the reason why I'm not interested in this one at all is because I hate anthologies, mainly because I hate short stories. So this one just doesn't really pique my interest at all. And even though I've heard there are some really cute stories in this Meet Cute anthology, I just have no interest in reading it. So this is the second pick for this question. Moving on to the more positive aspect of this question, part 2, which is 2 books that I've read that are books that everyone knows about. The first book that I want to pick is Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan. I think everyone in this whole world right now knows about this movie, and at this time of filming, I have not watched it, but I already purchased tickets for this weekend, so I would definitely watch it soon. But I am so excited for it. The book is amazing. I absolutely love it. I didn't pick up book 2 and book 3 ASAP because I didn't pick up both of them, any of them, because I kind of want to read them like as the movie comes out, because I believe I saw an article today about how they already agreed to do a sequel, which I'm very excited for. So hopefully I'll just read the second book like basically the same time as I read this one, which is last month, and the movie just came out. So I'm really excited for this one, and this is my first pick. Then the second book that I want to pick is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. I think also everyone in the world knows about this book as well because it's being adapted to a movie, and I cannot wait for the movie to come out. I am very, very excited for it, and I think this book is a book that everyone should read. I actually tried to push this onto my coworker, and she took it for like a few weeks, and then she returned it saying she didn't even pick it up because she just left it in her drawer and she realized that she doesn't have time to read it. So I was very disappointed, but at least I tried. So anyways, this book is the second book for this question. This is the last book in this question, actually. So question number 5 is comedies. Pick a funny book. So the book I picked for this one, I don't think is actually supposed to be kind of funny, but the main characters, like dialogue and internal thoughts just made me giggle like pretty much the entire book. So this book is called Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. This book is amazing. I cannot recommend this book enough. It follows a woman called Eleanor Oliphant, obviously, and she basically struggles with appropriate social skills. So a lot of times when people would do something, she takes it very literally because she doesn't understand that there is actually like a hidden meaning behind certain contexts. So she doesn't understand other people don't understand her. So a lot of these funny things just happen, and then she meets this guy called Raymond, who is an IT guy who works at her company, and he is basically everything that she's not. She's very like prim, she's very proper, she says things in complete sentences, whereas Raymond is kind of like, I don't want to say dirty, but he is kind of scruffy, you know, doesn't really care too much about a lot of things. So he is like the polar opposite of her, and then one day they end up colliding worlds together because they end up saving this poor old man from dying outside, and that old man is called Sammy. So with the three of them, she starts to come out of her shell, and this whole book is just amazing. I cannot recommend this enough. But Eleanor herself just made me crack up the entire time, so this is the pick that I will pick for a comedy book. So question number 6, dramas. Pick a book with a character who is a drama queen / king. This one I'm actually going to skip because I honestly can't think of any characters who I would really define as this person is a drama queen or this person is a drama king. I just think some characters are extra in certain areas, but I wouldn't say they're so extreme that I would call them a drama queen. So I'm skipping this question. Number 7, animated. Pick a book with cartoons on the cover. So I just finished my manga readathon. It's called a Manga Madness readathon, which I will link my TBR video in case you want to check that out. But I just finished reading Kami-sama Kiss by Julieta Suzuki, and it is so good. This manga is everything. I watched the anime years ago, and I believe there was like a season 2 or something, and then it just ended things. So I wanted to go back to the manga because the manga actually had a actual ending, because when the anime ended the books weren't done. So I just finished reading all 25 volumes, and this series is everything, you guys. It follows a girl called Nanami who is an average high school student, and one day because of her father and his unending piles of debt, he kind of just disappears and leaves her, and so she now has nowhere to live, and somehow she ends up meeting this guy who ends up being this shrine god, with like a land god of a shrine, and he just gives her like the god deity seal or something. It was like, oh, if you go here you have a place to live, and because she was homeless at the time, she went to that shrine and realized that he basically transferred the land god powers and whatever name, title, everything to her, and now she becomes their shrine god, but even though she's human. And there she starts meeting all these like yokai, which are like Japanese word for demons, or something similar to that, and she meets all of them, like these fox spirits and like these familiars and all that stuff, and there's like romance involved, and the series is so good, guys. If you guys are interested in manga, definitely recommend that series. Number 8, watch it again. A book or book series that you want to reread. This one is actually so easy right now because the movie just came out and I cannot wait. I want to just reread the whole thing again, and that is To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. The whole series. I still definitely like the books more than I like the movie. I will do a whole book movie video later on, but as of right now I like the books more than I like the movie, and I really want to go back and just reread the whole thing and just cuddle and snuggle with them because it's so good. Those books just make me have all the feels. So anyways, that's definitely the series right now that I want to reread. Number 9, documentaries. A non-fiction book you'll recommend to everyone. This one was actually super easy because to this day there's really been only one non-fiction book that I absolutely adore, and that is Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. Emily and I, when she was still with me on this channel, we did a review on it, so I will link that above in case you want to check that out. But I love that book completely. It's about his childhood. It's like a bunch of his essays of his childhood in South Africa. For some reason I can read that and I'm fine with that, but maybe I don't like fictional short stories, that's the thing. But for that, like, I really liked it. And I listened to it on audiobook, and it was narrated by Trevor himself, so he had all his inflections and whatnot, so all his feelings went through as he narrated, so it actually made things much more relatable to me, and I absolutely loved it. So that is definitely the documentary or like non-fiction pick that I would recommend to everyone. Number 10, action and adventure. Pick an action-packed book. This one I decided to go for Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. It's very action-packed. It's like set in a fantasy world. I'm not going to go into it because I'm pretty sure literally everyone already knows what this book is about. If they haven't read it, they at least know what this is about. So so I'm not going to talk too much into it, but this book was amazing. Really liked it, and definitely action-packed. Number 11, new releases. A book that just came out or will be coming out soon that you can't wait to read. This one was actually really easy for me because there's only been one book that I have been eyeing the entire time, like for months now. Most books I'm kind of like, oh, I would like to read it, and I like okay with waiting, but this one was one that I was like, I really want to get my hands on it. Unfortunately, I was not able to. Actually, no, I do have my hands on it because I do have a pre-order coming in because I won it from a giveaway. So I'm waiting for that to come in, which won't come in until September. But that book is called Wild Card by Mary Lou. Again, I'm not going to talk too much into this book because this book is also really popular, and it's actually book 2 for this duology. So I don't really want to talk about it because it might spoil parts of book 1. But this book is amazing. The series is amazing. If you have not read it already, I really highly recommend you go check them out. The last question is tag some people. For this question, I actually decided to share some of or tag some of the booktubers that I recently discovered. Number 1 is Beers and Books. Number 2 is Katie's Book Nook. And number 3 is Be With Cindy. I believe they're all fairly new in the booktube world. And since I recently discovered their channel, I've really been enjoying some of their content and their videos. So definitely recommend their channels as well. And I also double checked to make sure they haven't done this video, they did this tag video, so they can actually do it. So anyway, those are the 3 people that I'm tagging for this book tag. That's all I have to say for this video. This is actually a little bit longer than I thought, just because some of the questions were a lot lengthier than I expected. But anyways, let me know down below if you like this video, and if you've done this video as well, this tag, let me know down below. I'm curious. I kind of want to see other people's videos now to see what other people's picked for their questions as well. But anyways, that's all I have to say for this video. If you like this video, please do give me a thumbs up and subscribe down below. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. But that's it for today, guys. Thank you. Bye.